This is where MAGA comes to talk. All right, well, we had our holiday weekend, and now it's back into it. And we're going to get closing arguments in the Trump trial, and then it's going to go to the jury, and then we will be on jury watch. And, one thing I've learned throughout my life of following high profile trials, all different kinds of trials, you can never predict what a jury is going to do, ever. And, that's just the way it is, okay? And this one in particular in New York is one of the most difficult to predict. And the reason that is because normal the conventional thinking is, oh, they're in New York, they're on the jury, they're liberal, they hate Trump. Well, after the historic Trump rally in the Bronx, things are different, huh? Right. You have a different outlook on New Yorkers. Not only that, that rally that Trump had in the Bronx was really like a pop-up rally. And look, all these locals turned out, and all the media have agreed that those were locals. It wasn't like a Trump rally somewhere where people are coming from like 4 or 5 states. That those were people from the Bronx. So you can never predict what a jury is going to do. Now, with that being said, I have been watching doing my show prep for the show this morning, which is my next stream where I'll take live calls at 6 a.m. Eastern. The panic is starting to set in with the liberal media, the fake news media. My second cup of coffee already, guys. Oh, and this Trump trial to the fake news media is one of those situations of be careful what you wish for, you might get it. So they got their trial, and regardless of what the jury verdict is, the American people have acquitted Trump, and they know that. Regardless of what comes back in the jury, the American people have acquitted Trump, and the media know. That's why they're panicked right now. The media know that Trump did no wrong, broke no laws, there was no evidence, and what has happened to the media with this Trump trial, with this corrupt Judge Mercan in New York, is very similar to what happened with Rachel Maddow on MSNBC with the Russia hoax that she was promoting for years, and then it was exposed. And I think the media they're not just in a panic mode, which they certainly are, over the trial verdict. They're also in this, I think the media feel betrayed by the corrupt Biden regime, that this case was, I hate to say the case was weak, because that would imply there was some shred of something. I mean, there was no case, period. There was no case. And they got on this Trump hate derangement syndrome train, and they didn't realize that. So this is going to be beautiful. I'm looking forward to the verdict watching. Yeah, that's right, Shawna. No freaking crime. That's absolutely correct. I mean, my preferred verdict is not guilty, but like I say, you could never predict what a jury is going to do. And, I've been following high-profile cases my whole life because I've always been interested in high-profile trials and things. And on occasion, you'll get a weird verdict, or sometimes the verdict will be the verdict you wanted or thought was the just verdict. And then there'll be a press conference or interviews with some of the jurors. And whenever I've seen jurors do interviews after a high-profile trial or have a press conference, they're most oftentimes than not smart people. They seem to be pretty stupid, but oftentimes, maybe that's who they want on juries, dumb people, I don't know. But other times, jurors, they take things from cases that we watching on television, following in the media, things we don't even notice, they grab onto as important moments. It's very bizarre. So, I don't know. We'll find out soon enough. Hopefully by this time next week we'll have our verdict. But like I said, it doesn't matter what the verdict is. The American people have acquitted Trump, right? Right. Exactly. Exactly. And that so the whatever the verdict is, guilty, hung jury, or acquittal, regardless of what the verdict is, Trump benefits. There's no way that Trump does not win in the end with this verdict. And they know that. That's another reason the media is in a panic. No matter what the verdict is, Trump wins. Hung, guilty, not guilty, he wins. Even if the judge did a dismissal, right? The fourth possibility, the corrupt judge. Believe me, the corrupt people behind the corrupt judge spent Memorial Day weekend going through every possible scenario, what they can do, what should they do? Should the judge dismiss the charges? Should he declare a mistrial? Should he let it go to the jury? And of course, his handlers are putting together the jury instructions. So they want to give a jury, they want to give this jury instructions that no matter what, guilty. So I'm really curious when the jury instructions come out, what people like Jonathan Turley and other great legal minds like Mark Levin, how they analyze the jury instructions. That's going to be a very beautiful thing. It's, the case is so weak. That's why it has not been televised. By the way, if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. You'll love my content, I promise you. I'm glad to be back from the Memorial Day weekend. So much has happened. Usually these holiday weekends like this, there's not a lot of news, and we are overloaded with news, not just the Trump verdict, but a lot of other things too. The thing about this prosecution, I'm wondering if even the prosecution is surprised at how weak their case was. People get in these bizarre circles, and they start convincing themselves of stuff. And I cannot imagine that credible people, like, look at this guy from the Justice Department, Caligula, right, that left the Justice Department to go work for Bragg's office, right, the local DA. You think a guy like that would leave a top position at the Justice Department and go be some deputy district attorney for Bragg in New York if he thought he had a weak case? These people got caught up in this Trump derangement syndrome hallucination that there was some type of crime here. And I'll tell you, one of the big things where Trump's already been cleared by the prosecution, not just in these crimes, but in that Playboy girl, right? They were going to call her, and they didn't, because they determined, the prosecution, that her story was complete BS. So, and you haven't seen any interviews with her about not being called, have you? No. She's in the witness protection program of silence because she's been exposed as a liar with her allegations against President Trump. And I'm very curious to know what type of civil and legal consequences Michael Cohen, who admitted to stealing from the Trump Organization, is facing on the stand under oath. And in Trump's second term, there's going to be some hardcore investigations. This judge is so openly corrupt. There's no way that this corrupt judge, whose daughter took $10 million from the Biden-Harris-Adam Schiff campaigns, who's raised $100 million or more on the promise of Trump going to jail and all this stuff, Democrats sending money to the judge's daughter's home and all. There's no way that this judge is not facing some type of professional or legal prosecution for his corruption. It's too high profile. Denise says, praying for our president, Donald J. Trump. We love him. Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons they hate him, is because the American people love him so much. And they just don't get it. They're jealous of it. I was I would so have loved to been in these Democrat rooms during the Bronx rally, during the Jersey rally of 100,000. You know, these meltdowns you're seeing with James Carville. James Carville is in touch with the leaders of the Democrat Party. So when you see James Carville, that's a very good gauge as to the mindset of your average Democrat establishment leader right now with Trump. They're in complete meltdown panic mode. The instructions come from the judge. Well, the judge has got to get the instructions from his handlers first, and then the judge gives the instructions to the jury. This is not an independent judge. hmm You know, he is got to run everything by his handlers. Yeah, you know, and the turning points in this campaign. This is probably the most historic presidential campaign in history because you have a president running against a president, which is very unusual. The one president, leader of political opposition, is on criminal trial, been arrested, got mugshots, everything else, and is doing these historic rallies in places that Republicans just don't bother to go to. And you know, that Bronx rally last week, he could have gone there and it could have been a disaster, and it was a beautiful thing. Just like the Libertarian convention. You know, the immediate response from the left was that the Libertarian convention was a disaster. He was booed. Well, that, first of all, is not true. They were cheering him at the end, and they were booing Biden and some of the Biden policies. And on my next stream this morning, where I'm taking live calls starting at 6 a.m. Eastern Time, the libertarian leadership are radical leftist. It's coming out. So this is a beautiful thing. And they're mocking Trump in the media because Trump is saying he's going to get the majority of the libertarian vote. Well, those weirdos at the Libertarian Convention are not your average rank and file libertarian voter in this country. They're radical leftists who have hijacked that party. Alice, you might be watching an innocent man go to prison. Trump's not going to prison, unless you consider the White House a prison. I mean, if you want to, I mean, it's a federal building. He has federal protection, so so if you want to consider the White House a prison, yeah, I guess. But no, going to the White House is not a. I really think that Trump should run the country not from the White House, but from Mar-a-Lago, and just use the White House for like special events. Do you guys notice this? Like every time, because I got a MAGA hat on, I'm a white guy. Some liberal troll will come in every stream. Do you like black people? And I've got to tell people the same thing. I hate to keep doing this to you guys, but my daughter's black, so I have a interracial family. So to answer your question, sorry, don't you love these leftists? They racially stereotype me in a very negative way. Trump is innocent. Trump's done no wrong. I mean, he's just no crimes. Absolutely not. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Those of you that are new, this is where MAGA comes to talk. I know. The racial stereotyping of the leftist, it cracks you up. My second cup of coffee, this espresso here, 2 shots of espresso in each cup. That's right. It is hot and humid here in Florida. Let's see. Alexa, what's the temperature?
Right now, it's 83 degrees Fahrenheit. Today, expect a high of 97 degrees.
Right now it's 83 degrees and a high today of 97. But I'm sweating a little bit out here. It's the humidity. That's right. I love all people. Edinburgh, Scotland. Welcome, Audrey, to the channel. This is just my early before I go to work morning coffee stream. But it's so fun going through the news this day after a holiday weekend and seeing how panicked the fake news, liberal media are. I'm really looking forward to Trump's first important sit down interview after the verdict. Because, I mean, think about it. No matter what the verdict is, Trump wins. Acquittal, right? Not guilty. Guilty. Hung jury. What in any of those verdicts, how does Trump lose, right? If they come back and it's guilty. Well, I've been saying for a long time, President Trump is a Nelson Mandela like figure. He's a political prisoner. So with a guilty verdict, that makes that apparent to everybody. He's a political prisoner. Acquittal, total vindication of the left, that's a big win. And a hung jury, well, then they've got to decide, are they going to go and charge him again and go through this again with no evidence, no case, nothing? Exactly. Exactly. So, so he wins there too. And if there's a hung jury, what is the breakdown of that? If there's a hung jury, it's most likely, based on what we've seen, would be majority not guilty and one or two holdouts for guilty. And that's really what the left are hoping for right now. And if it's majority not guilty, that's like an acquittal too. So there's no scenario with this verdict where Trump doesn't come out on top. And the left, the never Trumpers, they know it. They know it, and they're really expecting either a not guilty verdict or a hung jury, majority not guilty. You can tell by their tone. I can't wait for the verdict watch. That verdict watch. I'm probably going to watch it. I got a sneeze coming on, guys, so bear with me. I'm probably going to watch the verdict on CNN because if it's not guilty or a hung jury, I'm going to sneeze, guys. Hold on. Allergies from my cats. I've got 3 cats and I'm allergic to cats. I was petting my kittens, and they were all up in my business, so causing me to have some allergy issues. Thank you for the bless yous. Thank you, guys. The Trump derangement syndrome is going to get worse. Well, a lot of them are coming out of their Trump derangement because they're getting what's going on right now is a reality check because they've seen the trial, they've seen the witnesses, they've heard the witnesses, they've seen what the prosecution has called evidence, and they've woken up a little bit and said, "There's no case here." The media, the Trump haters. Now if they get a guilty verdict, it'll reinforce their delusions and and all of that. But yeah, they right now they're like a little bit out of the Trump derangement. They're getting a little bit of clarity. Am I the spiritual successor of Rush Limbaugh? Oh man, I would love to be the successor of Rush Limbaugh. I do a much better show than those guys they had replace him. That's for sure. He's not chargeable for to be charged with something legitimately. You have to have committed a crime, and President Trump has committed no crime. The Libertarian Party on my neck. I'm not going to get into it now. But the guy they nominated is a radical leftist, a libertarian. There's libertarian. I'm sure there's people here watching that are libertarians. There's libertarians, and then there's a libertarian convention. And the libertarian convention is filled with radical leftist weirdos. Those are not your average libertarians. It's like they're like, look, how many of us are Republicans, and we don't connect at all with the Republican establishment. There's a similar thing going on. But T.321 Action says, sick of libertarians. I agree with you. Libertarians are, they might as well be Democrats because any vote for a libertarian candidate is a vote for a Democrat. They're stupid. It's stupid. There's not, I'm not talking about these convention idiots. I'm talking about like libertarian voters, like maybe somebody who's watching me right now. We agree on most everything. and you really should be voting for Trump. My allergies from the cats, they're killing me. But I am sweating here on my back porch in this Florida humidity, no doubt about it. Yeah, if you're new, my name's Brian Craig. I live stream every day and have a podcast and a radio show. I do a morning FM radio show here in South Florida. And right down the street, well, I'm down the street from Mar-a-Lago where I live, but the radio station is right up the street from Mar-a-Lago. So we are the radio station, radio show of the president himself when he's at Mar-a-Lago. But on my streams, when I'm in the studio, I take live calls. So you can call me on the air and share your thoughts. I'm sorry, guys, with the runny nose. Any of you watch my videos over the weekend on my other channel, my vlogging? Oh, my goodness. I almost got killed by a liberal. Early Saturday morning, Friday night, Saturday morning on the streets of Jacksonville, Florida. If you've not seen that video on my other channel, go and watch it, guys. It's on my Main Street Moments channel. So it was just stupid thing I did. But if you search on YouTube Brian Craig, you'll see that channel will come up in that video. Well, thank you, Shawna. Yeah, that was absolutely amazing, the Star Trek, yeah. I got together with some of my oldest friends I've known for 35, 40 years, most of which I haven't seen for 35 years, 30 years. So it was great. Well, you know, this case, there's no one who's followed this case, no one who's followed this case that said anything other than there's no case, right? Really, right. So, you know, these jury members, they have to go home and face people. How can, you know, if there's no evidence of a crime, how are they going to come back with a guilty verdict? How long have I been on the radio? Over 30 years. Yeah, I've been on the radio over 30 years, which is crazy for me to say. Really, 34, 35 years. Yeah, long time. All the cases are BS. Absolutely. I was talking about this on my podcast on Saturday. I uploaded a new podcast. It's the one with RFK in the thumbnail on the channel. You guys should listen to it. But I drove to Georgia on Saturday. Or I'm sorry, it was my Sunday podcast. Long weekend. It was my Sunday podcast, but it's still the one with RFK Jr. in the thumbnail. I live in South Florida, and I drove to Georgia over the weekend for something, and that's where those Star Trek sets were in Georgia, Kingsland, Georgia. But when I crossed the border into Georgia, and they have that big sign, "You're now entering Georgia," and underneath it said Governor Brian Kemp. I was like so pissed. I'm like, what a scumbucket Governor Kemp is in Georgia. And the whole time I was in Georgia, except when I was on the Star Trek sets, but like I went out and I got breakfast in Georgia and got coffee in Georgia. I saw that sign. I was just pissed because this Governor Brian Kemp should end this Fani Willis crap. He should immediately, Kemp should pardon Trump and all of the Trump defendants, and that includes the ones that caved and made deals, right? Like Jenna Ellis and the rest. Brian, the governor of Georgia, this fake Republican, should pardon Trump and all the Trump defendants and remove Fani Willis from office and investigate her. Like DeSantis did in Florida, he removed the sheriff of Broward County where the Parkland shooting was. He removed the sheriff. He's removed local prosecutors, DeSantis, on more than one occasion because of their corruption. And Kemp should do the same thing. And I was just so pissed off when I saw his name in those huge letters on the Welcome to Georgia sign, Brian Kemp, that he allows this to go on. I mean, he's as corrupt as the judge in New York, Mercan. I mean, that's just for him not to intervene and end this in Georgia is corruption in itself. I mean, Fannie Willis, she paid almost $700,000 to her gigolo boyfriend. Come on, with taxpayer money, and Trump's on trial, right? Give me a break. Scotland, welcome Scotland. Yeah, if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. This is most definitely where MAGA comes to talk. Absolutely. And on my next stream, I'll be at the studio taking live calls. Yeah, there has, all of a sudden, Donald Trump hasn't gotten more than a speeding ticket, if even that, in his whole life. And now he's got more charges against him than El Chapo. Are you kidding me? It's so absurd. There's never been a man so innocent, so charged in the history of this country, probably. I mean, they got him charged in all these different jurisdictions for the other made-up crap. Yeah, it is 3:24 a.m., and I've been up since 1:30. I actually set my alarm for 1:30. First day back to work, and I wanted to get up early to do all my pre-show prep. And I got some extra time sitting here with my second cup of coffee, and I thought I would come and talk to you good people for a little while. Oh, it's always early for me. I'm an early morning overnight guy. 8:30 a.m. in the UK. Absolutely. Yeah, I love the early morning hours. If I could, I'd start my day at like midnight, one in the morning. Every day, and be done by 1 in the afternoon. But I'll tell you, if you when we get to the jury instructions are going to be the next big thing, because you know the jury instructions are going to be one or two ways. They're either going to be legitimate instructions from this corrupt judge to the jury because they realize how bad the case is, and or they're going to be crooked instructions with the purpose of getting the conviction. If you think his name is Trump, you can convict, right? So when the jury instructions come out and the legal analysts on TV start analyzing them, that's going to be like the next big phase. If they're corrupt instructions, and the one to look for first is Jonathan Turley on Fox, and Jonathan Turley is a Democrat, so that's a nonpartisan analysis. MSNBC and CNN, I would imagine their analysis of the jury instructions will be similar to Turley, although some of them might try to imply something, but that is going to be beautiful. The wall was almost finished. Absolutely, he'll have to fix some of it because Invasion USA is going on right now, and a lot of the Trump wall has been damaged from that. But absolutely, it'll be finished. Yeah, he's not going to mess around. When President Trump comes into his second term in January, he's going to have a mandate like no president has had since FDR's first term. And FDR is credited with the New Deal and all this stuff, which was not a good deal. But the New Deal, almost all of the New Deal was done during FDR's first 100 days of his first of 4 terms. That's when that 100 days thing became a thing. Trump's going to come in with the most busy 100 days of anyone since Roosevelt. And he's going to have a mandate from the American people to get crap done. T-Dot, there's no plan B, man. There's no plan B. It's either Trump or we're in big trouble. Oh, Drill Baby Drill's awesome. Absolutely. And by the way, if you'd like to support all of my content, go to mypillow.com. Use my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, for huge and massive discounts site-wide. You can save up to 80% off The $25 extravaganza continues with my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, and it's free shipping on all orders over $75. The My Pillow mattress topper is 50% off, and there's huge savings site-wide. Still time to order for Father's Day, too. So promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, and when you do that, you're supporting all of my content, my channel, right here on YouTube, my radio show, and my podcast, and everything else. Promo code Kane at checkout, Kane at mypillow.com. Plus, you're going to get great products and get the best night's sleep you've ever had. And you overnight people, you need sleep, right? That's very good. I even take my pillows when I travel. I take a My Pillow with me. Promo code Kane, Kane at checkout at mypillow.com. Now the Democrats are gonna have Biden. It's done. It's gonna be Biden. I know they keep talking about Newsom's a weirdo, and Michelle Obama, a credible Democrat. Not that they're credible, but yep, that's right, Chris. Kane. That's my promo code. Kane at mypillow.com. But Michelle Obama and Gavin Newsom, I mean, is there such a thing as a credible Democrat? Gavin Newsom thinks he's presidential material one day, and that means 2028. No one who thinks they have a political future like Gavin Newsom, who does not have a political future outside of, liberal circles, but he's not lucid. Anyone like him who thinks they have a political future is not going to run against Trump. There's too much chance of losing. And Michelle Obama, first off, she's never had a job in her life. All of a sudden, she's going to go work full-time on the campaign trail? I don't think so. And they've got 2 terms of winning. She doesn't want to go out like Hillary Clinton, a loser. Yeah, new scum. That's what Trump calls him. And I think that's a pretty good name, new scum, don't you? Absolutely. Well, listen, guys, I'm going to run and finish up my work. I'm about done with my coffee. My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Those of you that are new, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And those of you that are already subbed, like the video. All right? I'll see you in 2.5 hours on the next stream.